Yemu TV, we have a serial entrepreneur, author, and business coach. Born in Zambia, Aaron moved to Australia to study law and commerce at the University of Sydney. While studying, he set up numerous successful business ventures that enabled him and his clients to live more successfully and make a bigger difference in their communities. During this time, Aaron recognized that the level of his success was a direct result of his ability to help others succeed as well. Helping startups to be successful companies is not just his passion, it has become his calling. With over a decade of experience in the vocational education training sector, Aaron founded the now international business venture, Leaders of Tomorrow. LOT Group consists of 4 subsidiary companies: Startup Results, Startup University, Niche Meetup, and Anima Juice. LOT's efforts is simple. They celebrate great entrepreneurs and honor entrepreneurship. Aaron has consulted with organizations like Fairfax Media, OPSM, NAB, the Red Cross Mission Australia, and Jesuit Social Services. More recently, he partnered up with top-tier co-working spaces like Harvard and Impact Hub, coaching numerous upstarts at Google Startup Incubator events. He has also been invited to keynote at corporate events, sharing stages to top 500 companies like Coles, Woolworths, KFC, and government leaders. Aaron currently dedicates his time to making an impact across his social enterprises, books, audios, workshops, consulting, and angel investing. Aaron Mashano, thanks for joining us this afternoon. It's an honor to have you on Yemu TV.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very excited, and that introduction makes me sound bigger than I am, but thank you. I've never heard it back to myself, so that's really nice.
That's who you are. You need to receive it.
Yeah, I think I'll summarize it later. Thank you. I'm honored.
Okay, perfect. So we want you to tell us a little bit more about yourself and what kind of person you are and the amazing work you do through Leaders of Tomorrow.
Okay, so how would we start that question? Who am I? I mean, that's a big one. I don't know if we have time, but I think I would like to say probably the short answer, because I probably am cheating. I was interviewed short by another co-working space, one of the top 10 global ones in the world, and they did a little introduction series with me, and someone else asked me that question. So the summarized version I gave them was, I think for me, I am an ideal. I represent an idea, or if you like, an example of possibilities thinking for people who are maybe in situations where they might have started with nothing and want to make something of themselves. So I probably would like to think I'm one of those type of people that really went for their dreams. And luckily for me, I guess, with a lot of support, I accomplished most of the things I set out to do, and obviously I've come to realize that you never stop trying to create new things. So Aaron Mashano is probably a representation of hopefully an example of someone that can create something from their ideas and dreams. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. And how about the work that you're doing through Leaders of Tomorrow?
Okay, that's a good question. I think for some people they'll call me very busy, but the way I see it is, I'm just a very passionate person that is really dedicated to hopefully fulfilling my legacy, which probably was instilled by me generationally through my parents, who were very hardworking farmers. Instilled a lot of work ethic from working on a farm. I don't know if you know the joke, farm work never gets done. So I've taken that to the nth degree.
Occupation.
Yeah, exactly. So I believe that's been my saving grace in business. Some people get in it for the money, some people get in it for the fame, but I've got in it because I actually just enjoy making a difference, as you said in the bio. And fortunate for me, I've been able to get some results along the way. And so it's just kind of been an ongoing process. So Leaders of Tomorrow just kind of started off as one company helping a few refugee Africans in Melbourne around the vocational education, workplace training skills. And through that, people would come to me and just kind of asked me, hey, how about you start a company and give us some more support online? So I set up another company. And then before you know it, they're like, hey, we are struggling with our nutrition and health. We're eating very badly. So I started looking into nutrition to support these people. And then I set up the organic cold pressed juice company for that. And so I guess it's just been an accidental sequence of businesses being built through the group. And very, very fulfilled and I guess fortunate to say I live a very holistic life and pursue holistic business.
Wow, amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. And so how did you find yourself in Australia?
That's a good story. I think like most of us, we wanted better opportunities. I was very lucky to, again, have parents that were just very optimistic and open-minded. So they allowed me to kind of, I remember the day I wasn't very smart in school and I have dyslexia. I don't know if you know that, but I found school very difficult and boring actually. But they said, well, if you want more opportunities and get out of the farm environment, you better study hard and go to school and get good grades, right? So that's the African parental technique. But unfortunately, when you got mental disabilities or learning disabilities like I did and they're not diagnosed early, you just grow up thinking there's something wrong with you. So I guess the Australian story started for me because I always maybe didn't fit in completely, and I always knew or felt like there was something different. So I wanted to experience different things. And missionaries from school picked me up. My mom planted the seed of Australia, and before you know it, I started applying for support, and someone took me up and basically got myself into the country in 2000. So yeah, it was really, really, really nice, and took me longer than I thought to get there because of the hurdles of financial challenges, as you know. But I was really, really lucky to have angels and support networks who just sent recommendation letters and got me into the country. So unlike most people who probably had a lot of resources, I was very lucky with a lot of people who just kind of had faith that I wouldn't come and corrupt the country, basically.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got in.
Oh, wow. And now I understand why you are a passionate social entrepreneur. It's your way of giving back.
Yeah, totally. I really feel I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for support and, just people taking a chance on people. And I think in the world we're in now, with everyone needing proof and qualifications and things I never really attained in those days, I think it's really nice to believe that some people still believe in humanity. So yeah, I feel very blessed and very lucky.
Wow, wow. And so how did you end up in Bali? Because my understanding is you're now based in Bali. Why Bali?
Yes. A lot of my best friends make fun of me. I don't know if you've read or watched the movie Eat, Pray, Love. I went through a very difficult divorce and have a son in Australia still. But if I look back now, and I guess if this somehow goes viral somewhere and my son's mother were to watch this, I think I would say thank you, and I'm really grateful for that experience. I think like some of us, we get a little bit lost in the chaos of identity crisis when we get to Australia, and I think if I take full responsibility for a lot of the mistakes I made then, I probably made a lot of promises I couldn't keep, if I'm honest, and that probably led to a lot of consequently the difficulty in the divorce that eventuated later. But anyway, so all that to say, it's actually a positive story now, that I was so disenfranchised, I guess, so disappointed with myself. And at that time I had commitments, not just at home, but with my business investors. And I basically lost everything and became homeless. But it allowed me to, I guess, start looking around, if you like. And through the social enterprises, I was invited to Bali to speak to a bunch of young kids from a famous school called the Green School here. I recommend people look at that if you're looking at alternative education. And spoke in front of kids who are, trying to learn school through business problem solving, which I thought was really interesting. And I experienced my Eat, Pray, Love. I met people here, fell in love with the culture. It's very similar to Africa in a lot of ways, with family and time. And when I finished my project, I ended up staying maybe a month more. And by the time I got back to Australia, I just didn't feel at home anymore. And I don't know if you know that feeling. It's just, I was so connected with the communities here and obviously the possibilities of what I could do. that people say I had my Eat, Pray, Love experience, and I was laughing at everyone, reading the books, going to do yoga, meditation, and becoming a vegetarian. And then I became one myself, so I get to eat my own criticism. But yeah, so that's pretty much how Bali got me, and I haven't looked back since. It's been 3 years now.
Wow, wow, perfect.
Mm.
And if you don't mind sharing your experience from a student of law where you were studying, you came to Australia and you studied law, and you decided to make the switch to
Yeah,
entrepreneurship. How is that
yeah.
experience? What was the key driving force for that?
Yeah, good question. Look, I don't know. I mean, you read. I don't know if you're into podcasts and YouTubes. I read and I'm inspired by a lot of great people who've paved the way for me. Like, I just saw the Oprah video of her speech being awarded, and how people, always knew success and they always pursued their dreams. But with me, it's been a completely different story. I think I'm more like a Thomas Edison type, where I just tried 10,000 different things that
Yes.
just weren't fulfilling, and I wasn't achieving what I was capable of. And my marriage included, probably, that I just failed my way to a point where there was no other option but to be a business owner. So I was a very bad lawyer. I was I just wasn't great at it. And there's certain values I had that just didn't fit with certain corporate cultures, so to say. I'm a very passionate, innovative person, as you know, and I like to, you know, make a triple bottom line type approach with my growth. And some of these things just don't fit in a lot of these traditional structures. So, yeah, to be honest, probably the best word is I just failed myself to success, and there was no other way. So I had to succeed at these things, because I think my son would be too ashamed of me if I didn't. So yeah, that's kind of how it all happened. I can't say I knew, but I would say I tried everything else that didn't work for me,
Yeah.
and this just felt like swimming in water, a fishing water type of experience. So that's how I got here.
Perfect. And so, would you say you have finally reached your destination, or in your opinion, you're still going?
I think you already know the answer to that. I'm serial now. I feel like I have, my whole life to catch up on. It's really funny. I wasn't ready. If you called me even a year ago, I was a completely different person. I'm just really passionate now about growth and, I guess, testing myself for my own reasons versus trying to impress people, which I think maybe I fell in that trap a few years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think the destination. One of my favorite books is Long Walk to Freedom, Nelson Mandela,
Yes,
and a
yes.
lot of people don't really read the last chapters, but that's my favorite chapter of the whole book. It's a little bit of a Bible for me. But he said, at the end, when South Africa gained their freedom, he realized by the time he got on top of that anthill, that there were many more mountains to climb.
Mm.
So I feel like for me, last year I accomplished so much, and honestly, it wasn't really me. It was just the amazing support I had and the amazing clients I had, and I have an amazing team I work with, and they've probably, risen the tide for me to follow along. But I feel what we just climbed one anthill, so we're taking on 4 continents this year, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. So,
Wow. I can't wait to
yeah,
see what's gonna happen, and to see your passion come to fruition as well.
yeah. Thank you. I'm very excited.
Okay, and moving on to the next question. What
No
I
problem.
want is to hear from you is your definition of success. Number one, your definition of success. And number two, if there is a little girl or boy watching us right now in Africa, in a small village somewhere, what would be your advice to them?
Ooh, okay, that's really good. So, what was the first one? First question?
What's your definition
Success.
of success?
Okay. Beautiful. I teach this also. I mean, I've come through so many cycles, but honestly, for me now, success. And I read this from a classic. I test everything. Everyone can come up with new slogans and stuff, but I love that timeless 1940 record playing old school English stuff. It really still sticks. People have spins on it, but I think it was Dale Carnegie himself that said success is the progressive realization of your unique, worthwhile goal. Yeah, and I love the two words of unique, meaning it's not going to be the same for everybody, but a worthwhile goal. And the reason I like that they use the goal part is goals have two ingredients. They're timely, they have a deadline. And number two is they involve you having to change something.
That's right.
So if it's worthwhile, it means it's going to take a bit of courage and risk, right? So for me, I set myself a ridiculous goal to travel the world, meet as many people as I can, and impact them hopefully positively. But I was also then prepared to take as much of the risks necessary to become the person I needed to be to hold that space or be capable of that, you see? So what that meant for me now is like I get more fulfillment from learning new skills and meeting people like you and picking up, like, thank you for the time. I've actually learned something more about myself just because of some of the questions you've asked me. And that is fulfillment to me. That is success because I'm obviously getting myself out there, you know? Whereas if I stay back in Africa, and this is now connected to the second point,
Yes.
and do what my generation, my tribe, my ancestors have done, what society expects of me, what if that's leading us into a bigger dark hole, you know? So what I would really want to say to a young African man watching this or hearing this is have the courage to pursue
Yes.
what your heart's desire is, even if it doesn't make sense to you in the moment. Because as Steve Jobs said, you only make sense of it when you join the dots backwards. I'm so grateful I'm divorced. I'm so grateful I became homeless and got screwed by people in business so I can learn about contracts. And I'm so grateful, you know, I have a son, because if it wasn't for him, I probably would have just flee and led and not felt accountable to really look at what my responsibility was for the failure of my marriage. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
So those painful pain points allowed me to pursue my goal at any cost, but at the same time do it in a way that I had to look around and then finally admit that not everyone wants the same things, and that's okay, you know. But I shouldn't force other people to change, but I also shouldn't have to compromise. But at the end of the day, God's given me this gift to do something with it, you know. And
Yes.
so that's why uniqueness is so much more of my flag, if you like. I'm always telling people that, like, oh no, I should make $1 million. I'm like, why should you? What if $50,000 will make you a fulfilled person? And it's better to impact one person qualitatively than 1 million people quantitatively. You know what I mean? So that's what I'll tell that kid is pursue your goals and don't follow the masses. You know, if everyone followed the masses, we wouldn't have female empowerment today.
That's right.
If everyone followed the masses, we wouldn't have the technology we have today. If everyone followed the masses, we wouldn't be using English as a language that unifies us today. If everyone follows the masses, I'll still be at home doing what I would have probably be doing. But not that there's anything wrong with that, because that's good for some people. But I wouldn't have met people like you see. So I had to risk something to try something different in order to get something different. And that's what I hope more young people start doing, is it's not clicking on a pad, it's getting out there and trying something different yourself.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm charged up myself, and thank you very much for your time. And it's been a pleasure having you on the TV show. And before you go though, how do people get in touch with you if they need more information about the work you do?
Yeah, good. There's so many ways because I've got so many businesses. It depends what they want. But the short answer is, I think the best way through is probably to jump on my website, Start Results. So start your journey.
Okay.
Results, RESULTS. I think I'm dyslexic. You better check that. But anyway, so startresults.org. So not .com, but .org, because it's a for-profit social enterprise. And when you jump on there, I do offer online courses around specific skills that I think people need to learn. This is actually just something I recognize as a problem. A lot of information is good, but people don't know how to develop the skills to execute on that information. So I'm really simplifying the content now to really address skill-based training. And so they can jump online and access some of that stuff, and some of it is free, of course. And I feel that when people can enter at a qualitative minimum commitment of time, then they can really ask me for more if they need more, because there's no point teaching high level stuff, I think, if we're still at kindergarten level in business, if that makes sense, you know. Yeah, so startresults.org is the best place, and / workshops. If you need any topics or webinars, it's all there, and just go nuts. But find me on Facebook while I still have a few more friends I can have. I think I'm almost capping, and I'm usually the person that will respond to a private message. I try my best to respond to as many people as I can.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you'll be able to enjoy the rest of your day. I know you're in between meetings, so thank you very much for sparing us a couple of minutes to talk to us, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for doing this. I just want to say congratulations to you. We need more female entrepreneurs sharing the voice, like Oprah said. So this is a great honor to be invited, and I too hope one day I can continue to support your program in any way I can.
Thank you.
See you soon.